Barika's phone rang in the middle of the night. She was half asleep and looked at the screen. It was an unknown number. She hesitated, but decided to answer. Barika, you don't know me, but I'm Hamdani's ex-wife, and I'm supposed to be dead. Barika's heart stopped. The woman's voice was shaky and urgent. Listen to me carefully. You are in danger. Then the call ended. Barika sat there, frozen. Her heart pounded in her chest. How could this be real? Hamdani told her his ex-wife died years ago. She had no idea that she was about to discover a terrible secret, one that could cost her life. Barika thought she had the perfect life. Hamdani was everything a woman could ask for, loving, caring, and always making her feel safe. He treated her like a queen, always bringing her gifts, planning special dates, and making sure she never had to worry about anything. Whenever she looked at him, she felt lucky to have such a wonderful husband. But there was one thing that always felt a little strange. Hamdani never talked much about his past. Whenever she asked, he would smile and change the subject. The only thing she knew for sure was that he had been married before. His first wife, Safiya, had died in a terrible accident. Hamdani never gave many details, only saying it was a painful memory he didn't want to relive. Barika didn't push him. She thought it was understandable. Some wounds never heal. Now, everything she believed about her perfect husband was starting to crack. Just a few minutes ago, she had received a call from an unknown number. A woman's voice had spoken on the other end, trembling and urgent. Barika, you don't know me, but I'm Hamdani's ex-wife, and I'm supposed to be dead. The words sent shivers down Barika's spine. How was that possible? Safiya had died years ago. Hamdani told her so himself. Yet this woman, claiming to be Safiya, sounded very much alive. Before Barika could ask anything, the woman had given her a chilling warning. Listen to me carefully. You are in danger. Then the call had cut off. Barika sat frozen, gripping her phone tightly. Her mind raced. Had this been a cruel joke, a prank from someone trying to scare her? Or worse, was it real? If this woman was truly Safiya, that meant Hamdani had lied. And if he had lied about something as big as this, what else was he hiding? Her heart pounded as she stared at Hamdani, who was peacefully sleeping beside her, unaware that his perfect world was about to fall apart. Barika's hands trembled as she stared at her phone. Her heart pounded so loudly she could hear it in her ears. Who was that woman? Was it really Safiya? She took a deep breath and quickly dialed the number back. Ring! Ring! No answer. She tried again. Still nothing. A deep feeling of unease settled in her chest. If this was a joke, why wouldn't the person pick up? If it wasn't a joke, then what did this mean? She turned to look at Hamdani, who was still fast asleep beside her. His face was calm, peaceful. How could he sleep so soundly when someone had just called claiming to be his dead ex-wife? Barika couldn't take it any more. She reached out and shook his shoulder. Hamdani, wake up, she whispered urgently. He groaned softly and opened his eyes halfway. What is it? He mumbled. I just got a call, Barika said, her voice shaking. From someone who says she's your ex-wife, Safiya. That got his attention. Hamdani's eyes snapped open. For a second, his face went blank. Then, just as quickly, he sat up and rubbed his eyes, acting as if nothing was wrong. Barika, it's late, he said with a sigh. Who's calling you at this hour? I don't know, she said, gripping her phone. But she said she's Safiya, and that I'm in danger. Hamdani went very still. It was only for a moment, but Barika saw it. His fingers clenched slightly on the bedsheet. His jaw tightened. Then he let out a short, forced laugh. That's ridiculous, he said. Safiya is dead. Barika swallowed hard. Then why would someone say they're her? She asked. And why would they say I'm in danger? Hamdani shook his head, acting as if she was being silly. It was probably a prank, Barika. Some scammer trying to scare you. He reached out and gently stroked her arm. Don't let it get to you. Go back to sleep. Something about his voice didn't feel right. It was too calm, too controlled. She studied his face in the dim light. His eyes didn't hold the usual warmth they always had. Instead, there was something else. Something cold, something distant. Was it worry? Or was it fear? Barika's stomach twisted. She had been with Hamdani long enough to know when he was lying, and right now, she was almost certain he was. Barika barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard that woman's voice again. You are in danger. Hamdani's reaction still bothered her. He had dismissed her too quickly, like he wanted her to forget about it. But how could she? A dead woman had called her. By morning, her unease had only grown. Something wasn't right. She needed answers. As soon as Hamdani left for work, Barika grabbed her laptop. She typed Safiya's accident into the search bar and hit enter. Nothing. She tried again. Safiya Hamdani death report. Still nothing. No news article. No police reports. No obituaries. Barika frowned. That didn't make sense. If Safiya had died in an accident, there should be some record. A newspaper report. A funeral announcement. Something. But there was nothing. Her heart pounded as she dug deeper. If she couldn't find proof of Safiya's death, could she find proof of her life? Barika searched for Safiya's name in banking records. She didn't expect to find much. If Safiya had died years ago, her account should have been closed long ago. But what she found made her blood run cold. Safiya's bank account was still active. Not only that, someone had been withdrawing money. Barika's breath caught in her throat. This wasn't normal. If Safiya was truly dead, who was using her account? She clicked through the records, her hands shaking. The withdrawals were small but regular, and they all came from a location outside the city, a motel. Barika stared at the screen, her heart hammering in her chest. Was Safiya alive? Had Hamdani lied to her all this time? One thing was clear. She had to find out the truth. Barika's hands shook as she stared at the bank record. The withdrawals all came from the same place, a small motel outside the city. Her heart pounded. If Safiya was truly dead, then who was taking money from her account? There was only one way to find out. Barika grabbed her car keys and drove. The road stretched endlessly ahead, her thoughts racing as fast as the wheels beneath her. Had Hamdani lied to her all this time? What if the woman on the phone had been telling the truth? What if Safiya was alive? The motel appeared in the distance. It was old, run down, the paint peeling from the walls. A flickering neon sign buzzed faintly in the evening air. Barika swallowed hard and parked her car. She hesitated for a moment, gripping the steering wheel. Maybe she should turn back. Maybe this was too dangerous. But then she remembered the warning. You are in danger. She had to know the truth. With shaky steps, she walked up to the motel door and knocked. No answer. She knocked again, harder. This time, she heard movement inside. The door creaked open just a little, revealing a pair of frightened eyes. Barika gasped. It was a woman, thin, pale, her face tired and hollow. Her eyes darted around, as if she was afraid someone was watching. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, in a weak, trembling voice, the woman whispered, "Barika." Barika's stomach dropped. She had never seen this woman before, and yet she recognized her from the old wedding photos, from the pictures Hamdani had shown her of his dead wife. It was Safiya, alive. Barika stumbled back, her breath caught in her throat. This wasn't possible. Safiya was supposed to be dead. The woman opened the door wider, revealing her frail frame. Her lips trembled as she spoke. "I never died, Barika." Barika's blood ran cold. "Hamdani tried to kill me." Everything around her spun. The floor felt unsteady beneath her feet. Hamdani, the man she trusted, the man she loved, a man who had told her his first wife had died in an accident, a man who had lied. Barika couldn't breathe. Safiya gripped her wrist, her fingers ice cold. "He will do the same to you." Barika's heart pounded in her chest. She could barely process what she had just heard. Hamdani, her loving, caring husband, had tried to kill his first wife. And now, that same wife, the woman who was supposed to be dead, stood before her, trembling, her eyes filled with fear. Safiya pulled Barika inside the motel room and locked the door. The room was dark and cold, the air thick with the scent of damp walls. A small, flickering lamp cast shadows on Safiya's hollow face. "Sit down," she whispered. Barika obeyed, her hands shaking. Safiya took a deep breath. "Hamdani lied to you, just like he lied to me. He made me trust him, made me feel safe." She paused, her eyes filled with pain. "Then, one night, he gave me tea, just like he does with you, doesn't he?" Barika's stomach twisted. "Yes. Hamdani always made her tea. He insisted on it." Safiya continued. "That night, I felt strange. My vision blurred. My body felt heavy. I tried to stand, but I collapsed." She clenched her fists. He had poisoned me. Barika's breath caught in her throat. Safiya's voice dropped to a whisper. He thought I was dead. He put me in a car, drove out to a deserted place, and dumped me there. But I wasn't dead. Barika's skin crawled. A group of travelers found me. I was too weak to speak, too sick to move. It took months before I could even stand again. And when I finally returned, Hamdani was gone. He had taken everything. My house, my money, my life. Tears welled in Safiya's eyes. I tried to go to the police, but I had no proof. To the world, I was already dead. Barika gripped the edge of her chair. So why didn't you tell me sooner? Safiya's lips trembled. I tried. I called you that night because I knew what was coming. He's done this before, Barika. He chooses women with no close family, no one to protect them. He drains them, takes everything. And when he's done, she swallowed hard. Barika finished the sentence in her head. He kills them. She felt sick. Safiya reached for her hand. You are next, Barika. He's already preparing for it. Think about it. Has he asked you to sign any papers, change any accounts? Barika's mind raced. Just last week, Hamdani had told her he wanted to combine their finances. Said it was for security. He'd even given her some forms to sign. Her whole body went cold. Safiya squeezed her hand. You need to leave before it's too late. Barika's breath came in short gasps. She had to think. She had to act. Because if Safiya was right, Hamdani wasn't just a liar. He was a killer. Barika couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, Safiya's words echoed in her mind. He's going to do the same to you. Her heart pounded. She needed proof. If she confronted Hamdani now, he would lie. He would smile, hold her hand, and make her feel foolish for doubting him. No, she had to be smart. She had to catch him. The next evening, Hamdani left the house in a hurry. He didn't say where he was going. He just grabbed his coat, kissed her on the forehead, and left. This was her chance. Barika waited a few minutes, then rushed to his study. The room was always locked, but she had seen him enter the code before. Hands shaking, she punched in the numbers. The door clicked open. Inside, the air was cool and smelled of leather and ink. His desk was neat, too neat, but her eyes landed on a small steel safe in the corner. She bit her lip. What was inside? Her fingers trembled as she tried different codes. His birthday, number. Her birthday, number their anniversary. Click. The safe swung open. Her breath caught in her throat. Inside was a stack of documents with her name on them. She picked them up, flipping through the pages. Bank accounts, property papers, life insurance policies. All of them had one thing in common. Her assets were being transferred to Hamdani. Her hands shook so badly, she almost dropped the papers. He's preparing for it. Safiya had been right. Then her eyes fell on something else. A small glass bottle tucked in the corner of the safe. It was filled with a clear, colorless liquid. A label on the side read, herbal medicine. But something about it felt wrong. Her stomach twisted. She knew what this was. Poison. Her mind raced. She thought about the tea Hamdani always made for her, the way he insisted she drink it, the way he watched her sip it, his eyes always calm, always patient. Had he already started? Her body went cold. A noise outside made her jump. Footsteps. Hamdani was back. Barika shoved the papers and bottle back into the safe, locked it, and sprinted out of the study. She barely reached the kitchen when the front door opened. Hamdani smiled at her. Hey, love, what are you doing? Barika forced a smile. Just making tea. Her hands shook as she grabbed the kettle. She had to act normal. She had to stay calm. Because now she knew the truth. Hamdani was planning to kill her. And if she wasn't careful, she wouldn't live long enough to stop him. Barika sat at the dining table, forcing a smile as Hamdani placed a cup of tea in front of her. Drink up, love, he said, his voice warm, his eyes watching her a little too closely. Her hands trembled as she picked up the cup. She could feel his gaze, waiting. But she already knew the truth. He wanted her dead. She had seen the poison in his safe. And now, it was in this tea. Barika brought the cup to her lips but didn't drink. Instead, she pretended to take a slow sip, letting the warm liquid touch her lips, but not enter her mouth. She set the cup down and smiled. It's good, she whispered. Hamdani's lips curled into a smirk, satisfied, but he had no idea. Later that night, when he left the room, Barika grabbed the cup and hurried to the balcony. Her heart pounded as she poured the tea into a potted plant. She held her breath. Seconds passed. Then, the leaves began to turn black. Her stomach twisted. Poison. It had been inside her cup, waiting to kill her. Her hands clenched into fists. How many nights had she drunk his tea? How long had he been poisoning her slowly? A cold shiver ran down her spine. She turned back toward the house. Hamdani was still inside, still smiling, still pretending. But now, she wasn't fooled. She wouldn't be his next victim. She had to act fast. She had to stop him before he tried again, because next time, she might not be so lucky. Barika's hands trembled as she held her phone, recording every detail. She had spent hours searching through Hamdani's documents, taking pictures of bank transactions, forged signatures, and hidden files. She had proof now, proof that he had stolen from Safiya, proof that he had been planning to kill her too. Her heart pounded as she opened his private drawer again. There it was, the small glass bottle, the poison, the same one she had seen before. Barika lifted it with shaking fingers. The liquid inside was clear, harmless to the eye, but deadly. She took a deep breath and snapped another picture. She had everything she needed. She had to leave. Now her bag was already packed. She had placed all the evidence on a flash drive and hidden it in her pocket. If she could just make it to the door, she could escape. She took one step, then another. Her hands were sweaty as she reached for the doorknob, but just as she was about to turn it, a voice behind her, cold, sharp. "Where do you think you're going, my love?" Barika froze. A chill ran down her spine as she turned slowly. Hamdani stood there, his face calm, but his eyes dark and unreadable. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then he took a step closer. Barika swallowed hard. I was just going to get some fresh air." His lips curled into a slow smile, but there was no warmth. "At this hour?" he asked softly. She forced herself to nod. "I couldn't sleep." He took another step forward, and her heartbeat roared in her ears. His gaze flicked to her bag. "Are you planning to leave me, Barika?" he murmured. Her breath hitched. She tried to stay calm, but he could see the fear in her eyes. Hamdani reached for her bag. "Let me see what you've packed." Barika clutched it tighter. "It's just clothes." He tilted his head, studying her. His fingers grazed her wrist. Too gentle, too controlled. She felt like a bird trapped in a cage made of his lies. "Barika," he said quietly, "I've taken care of you, haven't I?" She nodded quickly, her throat dry. "I've given you everything," he continued, his grip tightening. "And yet, you want to run from me?" Her pulse raced. "I would never—" Before she could finish, his hand shot out, gripping her chin. "Then why do you look so scared?" he whispered. Tears burned in her eyes. Because she knew. If she didn't escape tonight, she wouldn't live to see another day. Hamdani's eyes darkened as he took another step toward Barika. His grip on her wrist tightened, his fingers digging into her skin. "Where do you think you're going?" he asked, his voice dangerously low. Barika's heart pounded. She knew she had to act fast. Summoning all her strength, she twisted her arm and yanked free. Hamdani lunged at her, but she dodged, stumbling backward. Her foot hit something hard, a small wooden box near his desk. It tipped over, the lid flying open as it crashed to the floor. Papers scattered everywhere. Barika's breath hitched. Among the documents lay a pile of ID cards. Dozens of them, different names, different faces, all women. Her stomach twisted. This wasn't just about her. She wasn't the first. Hamdani had done this before. Hamdani's expression flickered. Shock, then rage. He lunged again, this time with full force. Barika barely had time to react. She grabbed the closest thing, a heavy glass paperweight, and swung it hard. Crack! Hamdani staggered back, clutching his head. A thin line of blood trickled down his forehead. Barika didn't wait. She scrambled to the IDs, her hands shaking as she flipped through them. A sickening realization settled in her chest. Most of these women were missing. She had seen some of their faces on news reports. Stories about wives who had mysteriously disappeared. Tears burned in her eyes. Hamdani had done this over and over again, and she had almost been his next victim. A low, menacing laugh made her freeze. Hamdani wiped the blood from his forehead, his eyes glinting with something dark and cruel. You should have never looked through that, Barika, he murmured. Barika's hands clenched around the IDs. She had to get out. She turned to run, but Hamdani was faster. Before she could reach the door, he grabbed her by the hair, yanking her back. She cried out, struggling, but his grip was ironclad. "You think you're smarter than me?" he hissed. "You think you can escape?" Panic surged through her. This was it. She had seen his secret. He wasn't going to let her leave alive. But Barika refused to give up. With all the strength she had left, she slammed her elbow into his ribs. Hamdani grunted, his grip loosening for just a second. It was enough. Barika twisted free and grabbed the small table lamp beside her. With a desperate scream, she smashed it over his head. Hamdani collapsed, groaning in pain. Barika didn't waste a second. She grabbed the IDs, the documents, and bolted for the door. She didn't look back. She only knew one thing. She had proof now, and she was going to make sure Hamdani never hurt anyone again. Hamdani's hand was in the air, ready to strike. Barika braced for impact, but then, bang! The door burst open. For a split second, time froze. Then came the voice that sent a shiver down Hamdani's spine. "Step away from her!" Hamdani turned, and his face drained of colour. Standing in the doorway, alive and furious, was Safiya, and behind her, the police. For the first time, Barika saw fear in Hamdani's eyes. Real fear. "This is impossible," he whispered, stumbling back. You're dead!" Safiya's lips curled into a bitter smile. "You tried to kill me. You failed." The officers stormed in, guns drawn, hands where we can see them. But Hamdani wasn't done yet. With a sudden, desperate movement, he grabbed Barika and yanked her close, wrapping an arm around her throat. "Nobody move!" he barked, his other hand reaching into his pocket. Barika struggled, gasping as his grip tightened. She knew what was in his pocket, the poison. If he couldn't escape, he'd rather take her down with him. But Safiya was faster. She stepped forward, her voice sharp as a blade. "You took everything from me, Hamdani. My life, my freedom. You think you can keep doing this?" His grip faltered. That was all Barika needed. With all her strength, she stomped on his foot and threw her head back. Crack! Her skull slammed into his nose. Hamdani screamed, his hold loosening. Barika twisted free and dove to the floor. "Now!" The officers rushed in. Hamdani lunged for his pocket. Too late. An officer tackled him to the ground. Another wrenched his arms behind his back, snapping the cuffs into place. "It's over," one of them said. Hamdani thrashed and screamed. "You don't understand. I was careful. Nobody was supposed to know." Barika picked up the stack of IDs from the floor. She stepped closer, holding them up. "We know now," she said, her voice steady. "And so will the whole world." Safiya moved beside her. For the first time in years, her hands weren't shaking. "You're going to rot in prison, Hamdani," she said softly. "And this time, no one will believe your lies." The officers dragged him toward the door. Hamdani fought, his eyes wild. "Barika, my love, you have to believe me." Barika met his gaze, cold, emotionless. "You were never my love," she said. "You were my worst mistake." As the door slammed shut behind him, a heavy silence filled the room. Barika turned to Safiya. Tears welled in both their eyes. They had survived, and Hamdani, he would never hurt anyone again. The truth comes out. The news broke like wildfire. Hamdani wasn't just a liar, he was a monster. Barika sat frozen as the TV screen flashed with breaking news. Businessman Hamdani Karim arrested in shocking criminal case. Multiple missing women linked to him. Her hands trembled as she read the headlines. Missing, deceived, betrayed. Women just like her. Women who had trusted him. Some had vanished without a trace. Some had never been found. She had almost been next. The world now knew the truth. The police uncovered hidden bank accounts, false identities, and secret properties tied to Hamdani. Each new discovery was worse than the last. He had done this before, again and again, and every time he had gotten away with it, until now. Barika scrolled through the flood of comments online. How did he hide this for so long? That poor woman, she almost died. He's a monster. Throw him in prison forever. Safiya placed a comforting hand on Barika's shoulder. He won't hurt anyone again, she said softly. Barika met her gaze, emotions swirling inside her. I almost believed him, she whispered. Even when I had proof, a part of me still wanted to trust him. Safiya nodded. That's what people like him do. They make you doubt yourself. They make you think you're the problem. Barika clenched her fists. No more. She would never doubt herself again. That night, the news played Hamdani's arrest footage on repeat. Cameras flashed. Reporters yelled. Handcuffed, surrounded by officers, Hamdani kept his head down. But when a reporter shouted, "Hamdani, do you have anything to say?" he suddenly looked up, straight at the camera, straight at Barika. A slow, chilling smile spread across his face. And then he laughed. Barika's stomach twisted. Even now he felt untouchable. Even now he thought he had won. But this time, he was wrong. The next morning, the judge denied his bail. And within hours, more victims came forward. More women, more stories, more nightmares. Hamdani's world was crumbling. And Barika, she wasn't scared anymore. She was angry. She stood tall beside Safiya, ready to fight for justice, for herself, for the others, for every woman who had ever been fooled by a man like him. Hamdani had controlled the truth for years, but not anymore. Now the whole world knew, and soon he would pay. The storm had passed, but the scars remained. Barika and Safiya stood side by side, watching as the police van drove Hamdani away. The man who once held their lives in his hands was now powerless. For so long, he had controlled their stories, lied, manipulated, destroyed. But now, the truth was out, and they were free. Safiya turned to Barika, her eyes filled with emotion. "We survived." Barika nodded, gripping her hand. "And we made sure no one else suffers like we did." A bond had formed between them, one built on pain, survival, and unbreakable strength. They had been strangers, but now they were sisters in battle. Safiya exhaled deeply, looking up at the sky. "He wanted to bury us, Barika." Barika squeezed her hand. "But we buried him instead." A car pulled up, waiting to take them home. Not back to the past, not back to fear, but to a new beginning. As they walked away, Barika whispered, "We survived." The screen fades to black. Final text appears. "Not every love story is a fairy tale. Some are a trap. Always listen to the warnings."